Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tammy from Homesteading in the City with Tammy. Today's video is going to be the first of a three-part series for beginner sewers on how to recover a patio furniture cushion. The tools you'll need for today's video is going to be a pair of scissors, a seam ripper, a cloth tape measure, some sort of a straight edge, paper, and a pencil. Let's get started. We're just going to take our seam ripper here and we're going to go through and run it across our seams. Oops, that gets our seam open. And as you can see here, we recovered previously, so we have a cushion in here that is, and then we're going to take that cushion off, that cover off also, and get it down to just straight material. So let's see here. Okay, so we're going to take this seam right here and we're going to get our seam ripper in there. A little bit of practice in there. Get it in there. This side. And you get it in there and you can go right along this cording here to remove this other foam from the cushion. Because we don't want to ruin our padding that's underneath this, because it looks like it's still in pretty good shape and we want to be able to use that again. Just get it open so that we can pull it from each side. Let's go down this side over here. Okay, and we have it all the way to the end there. Okay, now we can just pull our foam, get our foam out of this cushion here, because we're just going to throw this cover away. There we go, now our foam is out. Okay, now that we have the covers off of our cushion, let's measure out our pad. So, we're going to make sure that we go in the middle of our pad here. Get this fabric tape measure under the pad. And this is where our straight edge comes in handy here. So we're going to put it right on this line for the 1 inch. So there's that, and then we're going to come over here and figure out where we're at on this side. We are right at 23 inches. Okay, so let's rotate it. Again, do our measurement here, pull it over here, and we're at 23 inches here. So this one is 23 by 23. Let's figure out how high it is. Now we have a tape, my flat edge has numbers on it, so we're just going to hold it up beside here to figure out how thick our cushion is, and it is 6 inches thick. So this is the seat bottom. We have a seat top, a back that we have to measure, so let's measure that. So we will put it down here on our cushion, on our tape measure in the middle. Again, position that so it's right there. And what do we have? 23 inches. So now let's see how the other dimension is here. And we are at 18. So we have 23 and 18. Oh, and we got to get thickness on this one. It is 3 inches thick. So those are the measurements that we have for our foam cushion. Okay, now that we have our measurements, let's figure out how much material we need for this project. Now again, we have a 23 by 23 inch square and a 23 by 18 rectangle to do. We are doing this project with contrasting with a two-tone material, where the side of the material, the side of this is going to be in a different color than the top and the bottom. So we're going to figure that out. Okay, so we have to take the numbers that we have, the 23 by 23, and we need to add an inch on to each of those widths. So we now have a 24 by 24 piece that we need to buy for. The inch is going to give us that 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around our fabric for sewing. So our 23 by 18 is now going to be 24 by 19. Your measurements will be different for your fabric. This is what I need. These measurements are for my fabric, my cushions only. You will have the measurements for your cushions. You just need to make sure that you add the inch to both of your numbers that you just measured. You also will need to add an inch to the numbers that you did for your measurements of the depth of the cushion. So make sure you add an inch to all of your measurements. We need for that. Most outdoor fabric comes 54 inches wide. So we are basing our measurements on 54-inch wide fabric. You need to make sure when you are buying your material that you look to see how wide your material is, because the dimensions will change and the yardage will be different if you have skinnier material than 54. So here you can see my little diagram that I printed out for my layout. If we were to lay this out with the fabric 54 inches wide by however long we have, even a yard, this is how you would cut it out if you were to cut a single layer. Fabric comes off a bolt, fold it in half. So we're just going to fold this in half, and this is how we're going to figure out and cut out. So when we cut out one top, we're cutting out the bottom because we have 2 pieces of material here. So we are going to take our 24 depth and our 19 height, and we're going to add those together. That is going to give us 43 inches. We are going to divide that number by 36. 36 inches is how long a yard of material is. So to figure out how many yards, we've got to divide it by the 36. So dividing that by the 36, we are going to get 1.25 yards. I personally, when I'm buying material, go a little bit longer. So I would do 1.5 yards, because you can never know if the cut off of the bolt is square. So you might have to square up your material. So if you give yourself that extra 1/4 yard, you have a little leeway in case you mess up with a cutting. So I will be getting 1.5 yards for my bottom and top cushion. Now, to figure out in the contrasting color, the side pieces, we are going to add all of our pieces together. we need 6 inches for the side. So we have 6 inches, 2 stripes of 6 inches, and then we need 4 inches for the other side. So 2 stripes of 4 inches. That totals 20 inches. 18 inches is a half a yard. So we're going to need 3/4 of a yard. You can get 20 inches, but again, if it's not square, you have the chance that you're short material. So I will be getting 3/4 of a yard. So you'll need a yard and a half or a yard and a quarter, whatever you decide, of at least a yard and a quarter of the top and bottom fabric, and 20 inches or 3/4 of a yard of the contrasting color for the sides. Now that is for one cushion. If you have multiple cushions, you will times that by the number of cushions you have to figure out how many yards you need. Thanks for watching my video. If you like this video, please subscribe and have a great day.